Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well. So what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to remember from the previous lesson where we updated our tags. We just wanted to display the tags if the tag is available right here. So we want to update this section right here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go to our code editor, whatever one you use. All right, so in our index view right here, so let's go to our threads. All right, I want to change this to be the tags. So let me just change this to tags. Okay, and just change this to be absolute. Just change it to an absolute property. And obviously the main div, the parent div, we just want to change to relative. Okay, so we've done that. Now the next part that we want to do is we just want to set it right at 2. So we want it to be on the right. Okay, so the div itself, we want to give it a class of flags. Flags and a space x of 2. Okay, and then we want to obviously add a for each. And the for each will be for the thread. We call on the tags relationship. Okay, the tag there. And then we just want to iterate and give it a name of tag. Okay, then we move the anchor tag with a property of category 1 inside it. And what we want to do now is we want that to be actually the tag name, like this. Come on. We call it the tag name. And the background, I just want to give it a little bit of a green color, green of 400. PG green 400, and I want to make the text small. Okay. All right, and the next one that we want to do is we want to call to the web route. So we need to create obviously a route for that view right there. So we just want to change that. So let's create a route group. Actually, we can just copy. Now let's just create a route group. Okay, the route group. And then only thing that we want to do is we just want to do it as, and this is basically going to be tags dot. Okay, so I'm just going to do an array like this, and we're going to create a function, and the function is basically just returning the group itself. Okay, so basically what we want to do now is if the viewer click on a tag, they need to go to threads / whatever the tag name is. Okay, so whatever the tag name is. The tag, that's in our case, it will be JavaScript. So they will go to all the posts with threads for JavaScript. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So let's just copy that route, the show route right there. Just bring it down. Now, instead of the thread controller class, we're actually just going to create a new controller for the tag controller. So we're just going to change this, remove that, and this is just going to be the tag slug. Okay. So, you know what? Let's not confuse you. I like to make the work easy for myself, but for this lesson, we just need to, let me just type it out so that you guys can see it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a route for the tag. Okay, just like this. The tag, and it's going to be the tag slug. Okay, and that route is basically going to the tag controller. All right, the tag controller class. And inside the tag controller class, we're going to have an index method. Okay, and the name is going to be index. All right, so this will basically, because of this, will be threads.tags.index. Okay, so obviously with a slug right there. So let's create this tag controller quickly. All right, so we open up our terminal. So we're going to PHP artisan make controller, and then we're going to go to the pages tag controller. Okay, so basically what's going to happen now is when we make the controller, it will go to app, HTTP, controllers, pages, we're going to create it right there. So if you press enter, you'll see we got our tag controller right there. All right, so you open that controller. So we got our tag controller open. All right, so what you want to do now is if you want the user to be authenticated to view the post, you put the auth middleware like this, so public function, then you add your construct method right here, and then you return basically this middleware. Okay, so then you can do the authenticate class like this, or what you can do is you can obviously add the auth like this. Now, the thing is, the auth comes from the kernel, so let me just open the kernel up. So it basically returns the full path basically to that. It does the same thing. All right, it does exactly the same thing. But in our case, I don't need the user to be authenticated to view it. But let's return a public function of index. Remember, that's the index method inside our web route right here that we're calling on. Okay, so that index method, I'm going to put in a tag and a tag right here because we need to pass the tag variable to here. So then we're going to return a view of pages.tags.index. All right, so I already created that folder. So resources, views, pages, threads. So we got our threads right here. You could have done it like this. You created a new folder under the threads, and then your threads.tags.index, or you can just create it pages tags.index. All right, so everything inside your index folder right here, this one right here, in your threads.index, copy everything and just paste it in your tags.index. You will see it's the same thing. Okay, just copy and paste it in there. Okay, so inside our tag controller, now what we want to do now is we want to go to our thread model, and we actually want to create a scope right now, a scope for our tags. So how we do that is public function, and we put in the word scope in front of it, and we're just going to call it for tag. Okay, and then we're going to use the builder instance. Okay, the builder instance for Eloquent. So we're just going to call that builder. All right. Let me just check what this is. Okay, and let me just make sure I spelled everything right. Public function, the builder, okay, and then we're going to do a query. Okay, so then we do a query, and then we do a string, and for the tag. Okay, so that's the parameters that we're passing through, and we just want to bring in the builder instance of Eloquent. Oh, at the top, just make sure you import it at the top right here. As you can see, where is it now? There. Right, just make sure you import it at the top. Okay. So then what we want to do is we want to return a query whereas. So all of this you could actually do in that, but we actually just going to do a scope for it. So the query relation for the hashtags, the tags relation, and then we want to return a function, and the query as the variable. Then we want to use the tag that we pass through. Okay, so we want to use that tag. Okay, and then we want to create like this. Just make sure that you obviously add parentheses around the tag variable right there that you're passing through. And then what we want to do is we want to do the query where the tags slug is equal to the tag that we're passing through. Okay, so all of this will come from our query. All right, so let's do the query. So let's go to our tag controller, and let's just create open and closing parentheses, square brackets after your pages. Okay, and then we want to pass in all the threads. Okay, And then we just do it like this. Then we just get the thread, and then we're going to call on that method that we just created for tag. Okay, and then we pass through the tag that we just received in the parameter, this one right here, and we just want to get the slug, and then we want to paginate that. Okay, just make sure that you import this at the top as well, your thread up there. Just make sure you import it, otherwise you're going to get an error. Okay, so obviously I'm not going to use the authenticate class. Just delete everything that you don't use, and that's it. Okay, so let's see if it works. Now, as you can see in our view, we got that being displayed right there. So as you remember, the green and the index view. Now what I want to do now is actually the route that we created, I want this to be there. Okay, so let's go back. So in our thread right here, now anchor tag, now just remember in your threads.index, under the thread right there, this part right here, we're just passing through the thread, the route. The route is going to be threads.tags.index, and we're passing the tag right here. So we're passing this tag variable, this one right here. Okay, so we're passing that. We can obviously add the slug like this. Okay, so we're passing that to that route right there. Okay, so if we go back to the browser, we refresh. This might be a little bit too small. If you can see at the bottom corner, it actually shows the thread right there. So if we click on it, it's supposed to return that for us. So let's do that. Target class does not exist. The class. Right, just make sure that you import this at the top right there. Just make sure your tag is imported and your thread is imported at the top right there. Just go to your thread right there and make sure that there's not relations and relation. Okay, so let's just do that. The reason for that is if we go to our model up here, you'll see we use a tag relation. Okay, so if we go to hashtags, you can see that we call on the tag relation, not relations. Okay, so it comes from this right here. Okay, so if we do that, let me just go to the TagController again. So if we do that and if we click on it, we need to actually just see the one post for that tag. So if I click on JavaScript right there, as you can see, we only get that post for JavaScript, and if we click on Laravel, we only get that one post because that's the only one that have the tags. Okay, so that's it for this lesson, guys. And if you like the video, please give it a like. If you don't, please give it a dislike. And if you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section, or if you have any queries or anything like that, please just ask them in the comment section for us. All right, and the next one, I just want to update this part right here for the categories. So if that comes from the database, I just want to show all the posts with that categories as well. So since now we can click on this, so all the posts with that tag could display, but I want to do the same for the categories. Right, thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.